Trying to make sense of all the twists and turns in international security, it can feel overwhelming, can't it?
Absolutely. Like trying to solve a puzzle with pieces constantly changing shape.
Yeah, exactly. And well, one place where this complexity is really front and center is the situation between Hezbollah and Israel, right there along the Lebanese border.
Mm, definitely a flashpoint.
So, for this deep dive, we've pulled together some recent reports, stuff from AP News, The New Arab, and also some video transcripts, WION and the Associated Press.
Good sources. Gives us a few different angles to look at.
Right. And our goal really is to cut through some of the noise, distill what's actually going on and give you a clearer picture of the core issues.
Sounds good. It's a situation with a lot of history, a lot of layers.
Hmm.
To really get it, we need to look closely what everyone's saying and maybe what's behind what they're saying.
Okay, perfect. So let's start with Hezbollah's stated position. WION highlighted reports that a senior Hezbollah official actually indicated they might be ready to talk about giving up weapons.
Which, on the surface, sounds pretty big, doesn't it?
It really does. But there's a catch, a pretty major one.
Always is, isn't there? The condition is Israel has to pull out completely from South Lebanon. Yeah. And stop all the strikes.
Exactly. So it's not like an open offer, but as Orion noted, just the fact that disarmament is even on the table, that's something. He said it was unimaginable until very recently.
Yeah, that phrase jumps out. It suggests maybe things are shifting behind the scenes. Perhaps new pressures, new calculations are happening.
And speaking of Lebanese dynamics, there's the president. Waya also mentioned he came into office back in January with this goal, basically, of the Lebanese state being the only one with weapons, a state monopoly.
Right, a standard goal for most states, but tricky in Lebanon's context.
And now, apparently, he wants to start talks with Hezbollah soon about their arsenal.
And his approach seems to be dialogue, right? Warning against trying to disarm them by force.
Yeah, she seems to think talking is the only way.
Which, probably reflects the reality on the ground. Trying to force the issue with a group like Hezbollah, that could seriously destabilize things. Dialogue is tough, but maybe the only path.
Okay, so why might Hezbollah even be thinking about talking now? Our sources suggest some, pretty significant factors.
Go on.
Willian reported that Hezbollah apparently took some heavy losses in the recent fighting with Israel. We're talking key leaders, fighters, even a lot of their rocket stockpile.
That would certainly sting.
Yeah.
And wasn't there also the shift in Syria?
Yes, exactly. Willian mentioned that too, the change in the Assad regime back in December. Apparently that hit Hezbollah's supply lines from Iran being their main backer.
So, military losses and logistical problems.
Yeah.
That's definitely pressure.
A fair bit, you'd think. But, and this is crucial, Naim Qassem, Hezbollah's leader, AP News and The New Arab both quote him making it crystal clear. No disarmament while Israeli troops are still in the south, or while Israeli planes are flying over.
Right. So the willingness to talk might be new, a tactical shift maybe, but the core demands, those red lines, they seem pretty firm.
Which brings us right back to the disputed land and that ceasefire agreement.
The U.S. brokered one after the, 14-month war?
That's the one. AP and The New Arab laid out the terms. Hezbollah was meant to pull back from southern Lebanon, specifically south of the Litani River.
Which is a key geographical line there.
Right. Give up their positions, their weapons in that zone. And Israeli forces were supposed to pull back fully into Israel. Then the Lebanese army and UN peacekeepers would handle security.
Okay, sounds straightforward enough on paper. But the execution.
That's where the problem lies. Israel did pull back most troops in February. But, and all our sources agree on this WION, AP, New Arab, they kept control of 5 hilltop positions inside South Lebanon.
And Lebanon sees that as a violation of the deal.
Absolutely, because those positions, they offer, strategic advantages. Control of them is a really sensitive point.
Understandable. And this feeds directly into Hezbollah's whole argument about needing weapons, right?
Exactly. WION points out they've always framed their arsenal as being purely for defending Lebanon from Israel.
And Kazim's quote really drives that home. What was it again?
AP and The New Arab had it. We will not allow anyone to remove Hezbollah's weapons. These weapons gave life and freedom to our people. It's pretty clear they see it as non-negotiable under current conditions.
Very clear. It's framed as existential. Though Royan did mention something interesting. A nuance there.
Oh, right. The idea that maybe Hezbollah would consider handing over some of its more advanced stuff, drones, anti-tank missiles, to the Lebanese army.
But again, only if Israel fully withdraws.
Only if. So it hints at a possible future, maybe some integration, but that Israeli withdrawal is the absolute key, still the main sticking point.
Which makes the ongoing situation even more tense, because the ceasefire was supposed to start back in November.
But AP News and the New Arab Report continued Israeli airstrikes. And tragically, these have caused casualties, including civilians. The UN Rights Commissioner, cited by AP and New Arab, mentioned at least 71 civilians killed, including women and children, plus Hezbollah members.
And Israel's justification is?
They say they're targeting Hezbollah holdouts in the south.
So even with a ceasefire technically in place, you still have active military operations from Israel's side.
Right. And that, you can imagine, just digs Hezbollah's heels in deeper, makes them trust the ceasefire even less.
Yeah, and Qasim's comment about it really hits that. AP New Arab quoted him asking, basically, how can anyone expect him to discuss defense strategy with planes overhead and occupation on the ground?
He called it not discussions, this is surrender.
A powerful statement. His point is clear. Let Israel withdraw first and stop its flights. Then maybe we can talk.
Meanwhile, the U.S. is also involved, isn't it?
AP and New Arab reported on the Deputy U.S. Special Envoy, Morgan Ortagus, visiting Beirut,
And her message was,
urging the Lebanese government to assert control over all of Lebanon, not just the south. Full sovereignty.
which aligns with, broader U.S. policy aims for state strengthening in the region.
True, but how does Hezbollah see that? The Associated Press transcript, the Arabic one, gives us a glimpse.
Ooh. What did it say?
Essentially, a Hezbollah representative framed the U.S. involvement as just pressure tactics, saying the U.S. is coming and going, trying to force talks under pressure and based on dictation.
So they see it as the U.S. trying to dictate terms.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
They explicitly reject that, calling it surrender, not discussion, and saying they won't allow disarmament under that kind of pressure. They'd confront anyone who tries.
Okay, so if we try to boil this down for our listeners,
Yeah.
what are the absolute key things to grasp here?
Well, I think first, Hezbollah might talk about disarmament, but there's a huge if. That if is a complete Israeli withdrawal and a stop to the air activity. It's totally conditional.
Right, condition number
Yeah.
one, what else?
Second, the Lebanese government itself wants control over weapons, but they seem committed to trying dialogue with Hezbollah, not force.
Okay.
And third, despite a ceasefire being announced, the reality is ongoing Israeli military action in Lebanon, which keeps tensions incredibly high and undermines any trust.
So it really all seems to circle back to that core disagreement, doesn't it? The Israeli presence in those southern positions and the continued flights.
Absolutely. For Hezbollah, that's the starting point. Until that changes, serious talks about their weapons seem, well, unlikely. It's the fundamental roadblock.
Exactly. Which leaves us, and you, the listener, with a pretty big question, I think. Given all these players, their stated positions, the facts on the ground, what's the most likely path forward here? Is there one?
That's hard to see an easy one, isn't it?
Definitely not easy. And what happens if this stalemate just continues? What does that mean for stability? They're not just there, but for the whole region.
Yeah, those are the critical questions. Lots to think about, and definitely a situation that needs careful watching as these geopolitical forces keep grinding against each other.